Now, we've got Bob Chapman with us for the full hour, and I appreciate him coming on. We've got chemtrail news, a lot of police state news, but the AP announced 2 days ago that the feds aren't just going to take over the banks. They're not just taking over Chrysler and GM and then handing it over to select globalist families. They are now going to tell many other types of companies and industries what you can be paid, what you can do. And the federal government is openly now just ordering companies, individuals around in a totally managed economy, but not even managed to help society, which would be bad enough. That always fails because corruption's involved. But openly to conduit the money out of the country. This is the whole Homeland Security grid is meant to squeeze every drop of blood out of this nation. What we've laughed about happening to third world countries, feeling like we were part of the empire and ha, as a lot of good old boys do, even low-level ones, is now going to happen to us. Unless we stop them, but now, with the Von Brunn thing, the more I look at it, he'd been in federal custody 6 years from his last annex. The way the feds like to work is they'll shoot a couple of people, shoot Brunn, brain damaging so he can't ever talk again, kill the guard. The Russians have been caught doing that. It's a favorite trick. Because it came right on time when the Federal Reserve is about to be audited, and I just read these internal emails out of federal courts about Vioxx saying, the owners of Vioxx saying go out and liquidate, kill, seek and destroy doctors and people that criticize them. So this is how big corporations act. I wanted to get Bob Chapman's take on that and then the economy. But, Bob, good to have you here with us.
Well, thank you. It's good to be back again.
Bob, we got about a minute, but my point there about Von Brunn, I want to come back and talk more about this. But what do you see happening there? Do you smell a big, fat, gigantic, stinking rat?
Well, I think there's a good chance of it. We're not on the inside, so we don't know for sure, but it's like everything else. We have to back into it. And in so doing, we have to hope that our appraisal of what went on is correct. So we'll just have to wait and see, but that's a good possibility. This business with the 1207, which is the Ron Paul bill, has become enormously powerful. I know you're up to date on it.
But I want you to fill us in with your angle on it. I mean, do we realize the success we're having?
We sure do.
We have to believe in ourselves to be winners. Stay with us, Bob Chapman. Let's break that down right now and how you see the enemy coming after us. We're trying to kick out the foreign, alien, private banking government, the corporate takeover, the criminals, the illegitimate criminals that need to be thrown in irons.
Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
I want to salute all the great listeners. We do this pledge drive once a year. One day, June 11th, we're now on the downside of that, going down the hill. The donations are still coming in. Wrap it up over the weekend. The InfoWars Money Bomb, InfoWarsMoneyBomb.com. It's now reached $225,000 of donations in the last 24 hours. Started at 11 a.m. yesterday. We're now 25 hours in. And last time it took 3 days to hit $225,000. I think we'll do it in a day and a half this time. So I want to commend all of you, and that will help us move into an even larger studio next door, expand what we're doing. And it will allow us to put a generator on the roof so we don't have the power go off, because the power goes off sometimes. We're in this industrial park, and then the batteries on the backup systems run out, as they did 2 days ago. Then power was out to large parts of Austin last night, but thank God not here with incredible storms that hit. So a lot of things going on. We thank you for your support with the 2009 InfoWars Money Bomb. And still not too late to get involved in that, and I do want to hit the goal of $250,000 by the end of the show today. Let's see if we can do it and go past what we did last year. That will certainly anger the critics, and that's also important. Now, see, there I am being bad. I'm trying to not be as worldly and aggressive and competitive. Trying to do this purely focused to defeat the New World Order. But humans, it's said, are dog-like and horse-like. You ever seen how competitive horses are with each other? When they're out in the field racing each other. Here's the deal. Obama ousted AmeriCorps' head who investigated Friend They've also fired the head of cybersecurity 2 months ago. It's now come out the head of cybersecurity is under a gag order. But before he was under the gag order, which I think violates his free speech, they're saying national security, he said the NSA and military are taking over the entire Internet. And they are, so they can, quote, shut it down for your safety. That's the headline. I mean, this is really happening. Talk about corruption. President Barack Obama says he lost confidence in the Inspector General who investigates AmeriCorps and other national service programs and has told Congress he is removing him from position. I guess he didn't get enough kids in red and black uniforms to march around chanting his name, as they now have in their own federal TV ads, paid for with taxpayer money to recruit private people to work for the Democratic Party. I mean, this is all completely illegal. The General Accounting Office is on record. When Bush was trying it and now Obama is doing it. Also, the United Nations has announced their new list of international terrorists and gun owners. Counterterrorism database goes live. It's a global MIAC/Homeland Security report. We'll break that down. But let's go back to Bob Chapman, the internationalforecaster.com. For those that don't know who Bob is, we've got a lot of new big stations picking us up. In fact, I wrote it down. Ted came in and told me the station that picked us up yesterday. It's one of the biggest in L.A. And then everybody was marveling here in the office because Cindy Sheehan used to live there and knows the station. KRLA 870. It's picking up the Sunday show for starters. A lot of stations are kind of putting their toe in the water, picking up that Sunday show. It's like, I think, 10 new stations the last month. So we got a lot of new listeners. Let me just introduce Bob Chapman. Bob, before I get into the last question about Von Brunn and whether it's staged or not, they're hyping it like the swine flu, basically. You know, one death, it's the end of the world. One death, give up all your rights, hand in your guns. MSNBC says Von Brunn loves Ron Paul. Ron Paul's basically evil now. I'm evil. They're attacking me. Anybody who doesn't like the Federal Reserve and wants to audit it is a white supremacist. Before we get into that, tell folks briefly about Bob Chapman.
Well, I was a stockbroker for 28 years, specializing in gold and silver shares, owned my own firm for many years. And I retired, and I decided that I didn't like retirement, so I've been writing the International Forecaster for the past 20 years. And I've lived over probably half the world. I speak several languages. I worked in Army counterintelligence for several years, and I think I've had one heck of an interesting life.
And the adventure is not over yet, is it, my friend?
No, it's not. And I've been working for the last 3 months, as you know, on the mainline media mostly, getting the word out on 1207. And I think the figure now is 222 co-sponsors for that bill. And so that means it gets voted on and in all probability passed. So I guess that the Federal Reserve will probably concentrate on trying to defeat the bill in the Senate, and that's why they hired the former head of the Enron lobbying contingent, a lady, Mrs. Robinson, and evidently they expect that they're going to be able to perhaps stop the bill in the Senate. The Senate bill has been just sitting there waiting to see what happened to the House. And we've done a good job in informing the people in the House. So S604, which is the Federal Reserve Sunshine Act of 2009, sponsored by Bernard Sanders of Vermont, this should be our next target. We should go to all the senators and tell them we want the bill passed so that we can have an investigation and an audit of what the Federal Reserve has been doing. And when the public finds out what they've been doing, they're not going to be very happy about it. Plus, their obvious failures. I saw Larry Summers this morning on CNBC telling us all these kind of things are normal and to be expected. But we have to remember that the Federal Reserve was created to do away with all these things starting in 1913. These horrible depressions and recessions and panics that we had during the late 1880s. And so they haven't done that. They've done a terrible visual job. And so I want to see that we get rid of them. And I think that that could start us on our way back, at least economically and financially, from where we're at. But I do believe that we will desperately need legislation which will institute tariffs on goods and services. And that's going to be very important because we got to stop the transnational conglomerates from sucking all the jobs out of the United States. We've already lost, from a number of ways, approximately 14 million jobs over the last 8 years. And about 6 million of them can be directly attributed to free trade, globalization, offshoring, and outsourcing.
And Bob, the facts are in. For those that go, oh, this isn't free market,